Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Ilan Yitzhak here, joining with Mishkan Shalom during the week of Passover. We're here all over the world. Jews are celebrating Passover. The most important days are the first 2 days. The first day and the last day, especially in Israel. And that's when we do the Leil Seder, which is this big dinner in which we all sit, and there's all these symbolism and all these things that we do in order to recount and remember and celebrate the Jewish exit from Egypt. Because as we know, the Torah tells us that the Jews were slaves in Egypt. And through God and Moses and his miracles, we were able to leave. Right? And Egypt in Hebrew is Mitzrayim. And Mitzrayim means a place of constraint. Right? So as is the purpose of Mishkan Shalom and of all my project is to show that the Torah is really a blueprint, a spiritual blueprint of our own lives, and that it's relevant at all times. And that even the smallest, stupidest, troubles and problems and mistakes of your own daily, mundane life are actually biblical and historical, and they're all important, and they all come to teach you about yourself. Right? Because that's the whole purpose of our life, is to find purpose in ourselves, to understand who we are and why we're here. Right? So, Pesach is Chag Cherutenu, the holiday of our freedom. Because through this we show that the Torah, that when we come and seek something, and that God comes and saves us and shows us that there is something bigger, and that there is purpose to our lives. So I wanted to speak about a little part of the Leil Seder in the dinner that I think is so profound and has helped me, and I think it can help you, a lot of you, no matter where you are in your life. So in the Seder, for those that don't know, we eat matzah. So matzah is this form of unleavened bread, right? It's flat bread, which the Jews ate coming out of Egypt because they didn't have time to cook their bread and to let it rise, because that's how quickly they had to leave their constraints in Egypt. So we have to eat this bread. We can't eat leavened bread. We can only eat flat bread in order to remember, right, these times in Egypt. So there's this part of the Seder where we have like 3 matzahs that we leave, and then we take a middle matzah, and we're commanded to break it in the middle, right? Let me see. Okay, it didn't come out so well. We're supposed to break it into 2 pieces, a bigger one and a smaller one. The smaller one is supposed to be in the shape of a dalet, which is like the Hebrew D, and its numerical equivalent, like we know in Hebrew, all the letters have a numerical equivalent. Its numerical equivalent is 4. Right? So this is the smaller piece. And this is called the bread of poverty. The bread of poverty, remember that. And then we take a bigger piece. This is a bigger piece. It's supposed to be in the shape of a vav, which is like a middle, it's like this. And it's corresponding maybe to a V or a W or a U in English. It's hard to find an equivalent. And its numerical equivalent is 6. And this is called the afikomen, and it's like the bread of our freedom. And this we break this piece and we hide it and we leave it till the end. And there's a tradition that the kids go find it and it's part of the game. So let's understand the symbolism is we break 1 full matzah, a whole matzah, right? Is 1. And we break into a bigger part and a smaller part. 6 and 4. And the 4 is called the bread of our poverty. This is corresponding to all the poverty in our life, all the physical, spiritual, financial poverty that we go through our lives. It's called the bread of our poverty, and it's representative of this shrine, this place of constraints, all the difficulties that we go through our life, and we feel it in our bones. Now in the modern world, corona, so much stress, lack of health, lack of joy. Right? And we eat this in the middle of the Seder. Right? So it's in the middle of the whole thing, when the whole thing is going on. The Jews are all in the midst of running away and grabbing the things, and Moses is doing all these crazy miracles and turning rivers into blood, right? And so we eat that. And then at the end of the Seder, when everything is done, we've had our meal, we've recounted all the miracles, etc., we take and eat the afikomen. We go and find it and take it. And finally we eat it, and freedom. By the way, I made a blessing on this before, just if you guys are wondering, for those the Jews out there. And this is a Vav, and it's, we realize that it's 6 out of 10. That's a majority. Everything was for the good. It was for the freedom, right? The freedom that comes at the end, the Jews leaving and going to get the Torah and going to Israel, the promised land, right? And all of this constitutes one matzah, one big matzah. And that's what it means to know that Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, one. God is one. Even though there's parts in our life that seem totally disparaging, when we have our moments of joy, and our moments of total sorrow, it's all constituting one singular process of growth. And that's what we have to remember every day. And that's what keeps us going, even in the difficulties, is that it's one process of growth. And that the majority, all of it, in the end, is for the good. And that there has to be a bread of poverty. There has to be this 40%. Because if not, there's no motion, there's no growth. How can you grow if there's no place to grow from? Right? God could have just created us perfect, just created us in the Garden of Eden. But then it would be like having a movie in autoplay, just a movie in pause. There's no transformation, no synthesis, no dialectical process. Some philosophers might call it. So, and what's important, what's most symbolic for me, is to know that the afikomen comes at the end. And this is knowing that, there's a Jewish sage called Gamzu Letova, which means this too is for the good. And after everything, we always eat the afikomen, we always eat the bread of our freedom, and know that everything is for the good. That everything always ends well. And that's the beauty of God, is that God is unity over chaos, order over chaos. The world is stuck in its gods of money and of power, and of all types of physical things. It seems like it's all chaos, it's all these powers fighting against it. That's Mitzrayim, sorcerers, blah, blah. But finally, in the end, you see that it's all one big matzah, and that there's only unity, and that everything was for the good. This is something we have to keep meditating and knowing every single day, and it changes your life. So Pesach, the little word means skipping over. Why? Because God skipped over the houses of the Egyptians and picked the Jewish homes. So too, we need to skip over the breads of our poverties and always remember that there's light and that there's unity. And it seems simple, it seems like a simple message, but it's so profound. And sometimes the simplest message is the most profound. So anyways, I wish you guys a beautiful Passover. It's getting long. I don't want this video to be too long. I hope you can all get a little taste of your matzah, either physically, spiritually, and that you can just have the most beautiful, beautiful time. Realize that everything came from the absolute good. Thank you guys.